Welcome back to the Your Girl Yaz podcast, the podcast to listen to if you're a female entrepreneur who's ready to attract more fun, more money, success, friendships, and amazing clients into your business. Thank you so much for being here, and I hope I can add some more positivity into your day in this episode. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. This week, I have an episode for you all around your identity, because when you are running a business, it is very easy for your business to become your identity. It's so easy for you to attach your self-worth to your business and feel like every time something doesn't go your way in business or something happens, that it's to do with your self-worth, that you're not good enough as a person, that you're not doing enough, that it's your fault that things aren't going the way that you want them to. And this can be so draining as a business owner, because things aren't always going to be sunshines and rainbows. They're not always going to be like always going perfectly. And when your self-worth is attached to your business, then it's really hard for you to enjoy your life still, whether things are going really well, or you're in a stage where you're growing, or you have these goals and they're just not in fruition yet. So I wanted to do an episode all around your business becoming your identity, and how this can kind of impact you, and what to do if you feel like your business has become your identity and you feel like you attach all of your self-worth to your business. And let's first talk about some signs that your business is your identity, that your self-worth is very attached to your business. So some signs. So a first sign could be, let's say that you were talking to someone that would be an ideal client and they didn't sign up with you. You really took that personally. You made it feel like it was a you problem, that it made you feel like it was your fault and that you'd done something wrong. Or maybe right now, if a post doesn't do as well as you want it to, or your followers aren't growing, or you aren't earning 5k a month and hitting these big like income months, that you're feeling like a failure. Some more signs could be you feel like you are constantly doing all of the work, pouring everything into your business, and you're not happy. You feel like you've lost parts of yourself. You feel like you're obsessed with scrolling on Instagram, scrolling on TikTok. You're obsessed with looking at how other people are doing online, and you're constantly then doubting yourself and feeling like, okay, well, I'm just not as good as that person, or they're better than me. And it's very, very hard to catch yourself out, because as humans, we want to be our best, and we want to be, successful, and, our family to be proud of us. And it does come back to a lot of love. Like, we want to feel loved in our business and, important. But it's hard. It's very, very hard, because when you have attached your self-worth to your business, you are going to feel it when things aren't going your way. And recently, even like a personal story for me, like, I think I was traveling such a fast pace, right? So I had lots of friends and family come out, and I was running my business, and like, my life felt so full at the point. But then, like, when I've come away and slowed down, I was like, oh my gosh, I was just doing so much. And things have started to slow down in my business, and I just needed like a bit of a time where I'm just a bit more like closed off and protecting my energy. And having this slow time, it's been like a few weeks of just like real nurturing myself, of in the mornings, like really like from 6 a.m. till 10 a.m. I'm really prioritizing myself. Like, I'm doing my journaling, going to my Pilates class, doing my nervous system regulations and my meditations, and just really, really connecting to myself and learning and experimenting what's going to make me feel like my best self in this next chapter, so that I can show up for my business and my friends and all the other areas of my life. But I've had to do a big like detachment from the ego state of, like, it felt like everything was sort of crumbling down at once. It felt like clients had come to the end of their contracts, and it was their time to go off on their own and like implement everything that we had done together. And then you have like that dip of income, and I just felt really like I had to let go. I felt like, okay, I was gone from earning like probably like half of my income, and it just felt really scary, because I was like, oh my gosh, like, you're used to that stability and that coming in each month. And what I really needed was to just have some time out, and actually use this time to pour into the other areas as well, like really pour into myself, pour into the retreat that I have planned in September, and just come back to some different areas of myself and my life that need some attention rather than, trying to get lots of new clients straight away. So I've had a really, really interesting few weeks of letting go and detaching from my business being my identity, and like, taking the pressure off myself and just like allow myself to come back to who I really want to be stepping into this next chapter. And it's not always an overnight fix. Like, we do really, really need time in order to, like, you're not going to be on all the time. You can't just be this like constant going person. And I've had to learn that the hard way. And I feel like you get sent the same lesson over and over until you really learn. And I feel like that's what was happening for me. Like, I feel like I've had lots of stages of my life where I have been like filling up my calendar and doing so much and saying yes to everything. And then this chapter, I was like, whoa, like I really, really need to slow down. Like, I need to not just say I'm going to slow down, like I need to actually implement it. And I've had a lot of releases. I've got honest with myself a lot about a lot of things. And I feel like I've had like a big ego death. Like, I've gone from really attaching a lot of my self-worth to, the business and having the retreats and like, looking amazing and everything, to like, okay, well, let's really, really come back to basics and come back to like how I want people to feel when they come into my world. And I started my CEO Club, which is a community for female entrepreneurs. And each month we have like a mindset training that I do, which is actually going to be today. It's later today for me. And also we do like a monthly community call where we all come together, we have a cup of tea, we chat about life, how we're all feeling, and just make those connections. And it's so fun. Like, I love it so much. And for ages I've been putting off creating a community, and then one day I was like, let's just do it. And I created the community, and then the next week I was like, oh my gosh, I need to take time off. And that felt so scary for me because I'd only just created it. Like, I've had all these amazing girls join, and then I was like, right, girls, I'm gonna take some time off. And that felt really scary because I cancelled everything that I had taken that time off, and I was like, I just need to prioritize myself. And it was amazing to do that. Like, in the long run, I just feel like I am back to, not even back to myself, I feel like I've sort of walked into a new chapter of me, of like real deep nurturing myself, like really, really putting myself first, probably for the first time. I think in different stages sometimes we think we're putting ourselves first, but like when you shut your eyes and like internally like get deep with yourself around how you're actually treating yourself day to day, I think a lot of us aren't actually putting ourselves first that much, and on this hamster wheel of feeling like we need to do more. And that is the world we live in. It does make us feel like we need to constantly be doing more and having more, when really at our core we just want to be loved. We want to have lovely people around us, lovely clients, and live a life that we feel fulfilled in. And the money, like, that's going to come and go. And yes, it's important to be stable and have that, but in business it's not always stable. Like, in business there are going to be months where things do slow down a little bit, and some months again where it's thriving again. And I am a big believer, like, I invested from the start. So the way I've set out my business, like, I do have income coming in, and like I've got amazing clients and I've got the CEO Club, but I'm just in a bit more of a growth phase again, where I had sort of 6 months of really living my life and enjoying myself and learning lots of lessons. And then now I'm in like okay, let's reset, let's like welcome in some new amazing people. I've so excited about the CEO Club because it's given a lot of girls that chance to get their mindset support for £33 a month. Like, it's just so special having that community where I can just keep supporting more people. So yeah, I love the CEO Club. And then I also love my one-to-one mentorship, which I'm also opening up some more spaces for. So if you're someone like me, that I really benefit from personal support, like, I just feel like I need someone like in my corner that really wants to understand me and help me like become the best version of me in my business, then that's what I do. Like, I literally am like your CEO energy mentor to help you really, really create the business and life of your dreams. So we get deep into the things right now that have been holding you back. So if it is the comparison, if you feel like your whole self-worth is attached to your business and you feel like you're just not happy unless you're hitting big numbers, or you feel like you've just not got to that point yet, and you feel like you're just like getting stuck in this cycle of always wanting more and never feeling like you're good enough, then that's where the one-to-one mentorship is so powerful, because we dive deep into actually, well, what do you really want and what's in the way? And we do lots of visualizations, and I teach all of the mindset tools to help you really, really build a life that you're so excited about, so happy in. And it's just such special work. Like, all of my one-to-one clients have such a special place in my heart, and they always will. Like, we have the most beautiful relationships, and that's why the retreats are so special as well, because then I bring everyone together at the retreats. So yeah, there's lots of different ways that you can get that mindset support. If you, right now you're struggling with this and you want that extra support, just go to the show notes. I've got all my links there, my loves. So yes. Anyway, back to the episode. So let's talk a little bit about the psychology of the identity work, the psychology of attaching your identity to your business. And it is a form of self validation. So, why do we do it? When your business succeeds, right, it makes you feel like you're good enough. When it struggles, it can feel like you're failing as a person. And doing some research, I'm just going to read you some bits that I wanted to read off from my notes that I've made. So, research shows entrepreneurs often tie self worth to external achievements, especially women who have been conditioned to overgive and overperform. So, if you are a female entrepreneur, it's almost like we have this extra barrier of like, we've been conditioned to overgive, to overperform, to people please, to do everything for everyone else. But that can often shoot us in the foot in business, because when you're overgiving, when you're doing so much for other people and not leaving anything for yourself, then that's going to lead to burnout. That's going to lead to you attaching your self-worth to, these external achievements, and making you think that you have to do all of these things to be worthy, when actually I guarantee that you're already doing more than enough. Like, I feel like what is important for you to come back to is that mindset, like that prioritizing yourself in order for everything else to flourish and grow. So let's get back to reading. So you created your business, so you feel like it is you. It's your face, your name, your heart, your story behind the brand. Naturally, the lines blur. Naturally, you are feeling like you have to do all of these things, help all of these people, and do everything for everyone else in order to get that success, in order to get that, like, chasing that high of entrepreneurship and being successful, when actually it can be shooting you in the foot. So in these studies in entrepreneurship, it shows that founders often see their business as an extension of the self, especially in passion led businesses. So, right now, I want you to take a good look in the mirror, actually go into a mirror if you can, like, have a good look, or in your phone, have a good look at yourself and think, like, okay, how much of my identity am I attaching to my business? How much of my self worth am I attaching to my business? What does it make me feel when I am trying to get new clients? Or, like, what energy am I going into everything with? This is a really good episode to get honest with yourself, because burnout is a real thing. It is a lot more likely when your worth is tied to your client wins, when it's tied to your client outcomes or engagement. So your nervous system is always going to be on high alert when you are constantly in this loop of trying to do so much in order to get this success that you're wanting. And one thing that I've really come back to prioritizing the mindset work. Like, when I was traveling, I felt like it was really, I was journaling and I was still doing bits, but it was hard to have that deep intentional time because I was just on the move so much. So yeah, coming back to this chapter where I've got a lot more time to myself, and I do spend a lot of time on my own here in the week. So I've really, really come back to, like, okay, well, how would the best version of me be treating herself? Like, what would she be doing in her days for herself before her business? And, like, I really, really am so focused on everyone's businesses, but I'm very, like, what I love is, you know, creating that life of your dreams. Like, you creating a life where you feel so excited to wake up every day. You feel so excited about your clients' work. You feel so excited about, helping people, but you also feel so excited about your life outside of your business. Like, if a client doesn't sign up, it's no big deal, because you trust that what's meant for you is never going to pass you by. You trust that you are exactly where you're meant to be. And if things don't always go your way, you trust that there's bigger, better, more aligned things coming into your life. So that is the work that I love doing, is like, okay, well, let's disattach you from your business for a minute. Let's come back to like what is really important to you, like the types of people you want to attract in your business, the types of friends you want to make in your life, like really mapping out that best version of you and what her life looks like. And I'm changing. I'm going into a new stage of life right now where I love the travel life. Like, I feel like now I've done the sort of like backpacker, moving around twice now, twice life. Twice life? Yeah, I've done the moving around twice. Like, I didn't actually expect that this trip to be so fast paced moving around. I thought I was going to set up in Bali for 2 months, but I ended up moving at such a fast pace because I had different people come to see me and we wanted to do different things. So it's been a lot. So, coming back to this phase where things have slowed down, I was like, okay, well, this gives me some time to reinvent who I want to be in the next chapter. And in the next chapter, I really, really am ready to slow down. I'm ready to build a life of intention where I'm not moving around with my laptop all the time, where I'm like in one beautiful space and I have my own podcast studio and like just, I can be really intentional with my time. I want to do deeper work. I want to do more qualifications around empowering women and, really, really giving my best to my clients. And you can't always be in this big crazy successful like phase all the time. Like, you do need downtime and you need time to reconnect with the version of you want to be in the next chapter. And the words I use a lot with my clients is like experimentation and chapters, because we're in one big life experiment. Like, things are always going to be changing. That's the one thing guaranteed. And you have that chance. I think it's a real good thing because you have that chance to recreate yourself over and over again. You have that chance to look at, well, who do I want to be in this next version? Like, even for me, I'm like, who do I want to be in this next version of Yaz? And what era do you want to enter? I feel like I'm entering like my real intentional era of like, not just trying to fit everything in, like doing a lot of intentional work and yeah, just taking a lot more of a slower pace of life, which has been so amazing. I feel like I'm the fittest I've ever been because and it's so funny because I'd listen to podcast episodes, right? And it'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm so fit now. I'm like regulating my nervous system. I've lost all this weight and everything. And I used to have some like real problems with binge eating and like sugar addictions. Like, I was so addicted to sugar. Like, if there's chocolate in the fridge, I'd be eating it like every time. I do love chocolate, but since I've been here, I've really, really slowed down. So even last night, like I was out last night and then I got back at like 11 p.m. And usually I would like reach straight for the chocolate cupboard. I would like, make myself a tea or feel like I'd have to eat a full meal because I had an early dinner and like, watch TV for ages. But I was like, no, I'm good. I'm going to have a shower. I'm going to go to bed. And that, like, even that for me felt like such a mic drop moment of like, actually, for the first time, I feel like I'm really prioritizing what my body needs. And instead of like high intensity workouts, I'm going to my Pilates, which has been so good for my body. I've got my abs coming through. I go on really long walks because I don't have a car here. I found it so funny that I haven't owned a car now since I was like 22 because I've just been like traveling. But it's things like that. Like, I'm ready to enter a stage of my life where I set up some foundation somewhere. I'm not sure where it looks like. But yeah, it's just been nice to welcome in this space to actually get intentional about what I want in this chapter. And I think it's so important to do that. And in order to do that, you sometimes need to take a bit of a step back, take a bit of a like, okay, let's step away from the ego mindset of always needing more money and into a mindset of like, okay, well, what do I really need in this chapter? Because money is going to come and go. Like, it's if it that is the center of your happiness at all points in life, then you're in for a rocky road because you're going to have times where you're not as stable or you're not as having as high income months, and you're going to have times where you have the best months ever. And if that's your whole identity is attached to how much money you're earning, and that is a setup for unhappiness, because often, and a lot of people say it, you get to these points and you hit those big money months and you don't feel any different because it's just energy at the end of the day. Money is literally energy. And yes, you can buy yourself nice things, but how many people say you get that nice car and then you're already thinking of the next nice car? So it's really important to have your self-worth attached to other things other than your business and your financial position. Like, for me, like when I've had this time off, I've really come back to what I value in life. And Like for me, it's having love around me, having those amazing connections. I always used to be very like, I'm independent, I want my own space, I want all of this. But from traveling again, and like, like my first friend came out for a few weeks, and I had another friend come out for 3 weeks, and like, we're having sleepovers every night. And in my time in Australia, every weekend I've had sleepovers with my friends. Like I haven't stayed here where I'm staying once, because every weekend it's just been full of like love. And we're all like, we went camping, and we were like all stayed at my friend's house having sleepovers. And like I went away one weekend with the girls, and like every weekend has just been full of love. And we're all sharing food and eating together. And like, I haven't done much on my own, and I've noticed the difference between in the week where I've just spent a lot of time on my own, and then the weekends where they've been so full of love. And I'm like, that's what I want in life. I want a life full of love, where I'm surrounded by people that love me and want the best for me, and I can do nice things for them as well, and eat together. And those simple things mean so much to me. And I think sometimes it's hard when you get in the business world, because you're seeing all of these shiny things, and the 5K, 10K months now, and like getting your dream car and traveling the world. But the most important thing for me, and it's up to you to figure out your values. And I'm always there to help. That you can always come to me to help with it. But getting clear on my values again, like the business is from a place of love, and that's what I always want it to be. And I want to be able to have the space to pour into it intentionally. But you're not always going to learn that straight away. Like, 2 years in, I've learned so many different ways of doing business, and you learn from so many different people. But it's so important for you to find what works for you and what feels aligned for you. So I want to go into how we can start separating your business from your identity, so you can do similar and live a life where you feel like, oh, you're just happy to wake up in the days. You're not stressed about money, you're not stressed about getting your dream clients, because you back yourself. You feel so confident in yourself that you're exactly where you want to be, that all of these dreams that you have are coming to you as we speak. Like everything is happening in divine timing, and you're not forcing it, you're not rushing anything. Like things are just working out exactly as they're meant to. And it does all sound a bit woo-woo, doesn't it? And it sounds like, is that real life though? But I truly, from the last few weeks, of actually coming back to what's important. And like I've had things that could have really stressed me out around like financially and like the future and things. And like I don't have loads and loads saved in the bank right now, but the one thing I do have is my happiness. And I get to live a life in a business that really, really lights me up, and the life I've built around it is so special. So coming back to my little notes, the Harvard Business Review found that identity fusion with work increases emotional exhaustion, stress, and that fear of failure. So, how much is your identity fused to your business? That identity fusion, like it says, is leading to you feeling emotionally exhausted, stressed, and so scared that you're going to fail. And I guarantee, if you're a CEO right now, if you're a female entrepreneur, you're feeling this, because at one point I feel like it just happens, it creeps up on you, that it becomes your identity. And instead of talking about, like, I have so many clients come to me and all they want to talk about is their business, and I'm like, well, what do you really really want as a person? Like, what makes you happy outside of business? What lights you up? Like, what are your values? What is holding you back right now? What would you like to have more of in your life? And a lot of the time it's a process, because my clients have never been asked these questions. They're just like told that they need to earn 5 grand a month or do these things in order to create success and be happy. And it's like, well, what's actually going to make you happy? Because there's a fine line with the financial side of things. Like, that is so important, but it's also important to enjoy the journey of it as well. And that's what I love helping the girls with. So let's start with, I firstly want to give you permission to start over. The good thing about life is you can start over and over again. You don't have to stick in one life. I love saying it in the minute, you use your free will. Like, what would your free will tell you to do right now? If you could go do anything in the world right now, what would you do? And it was actually so like special, but also sad when I was in Lombok, because I would get quite good friends with a lot of the locals and hear about their dreams and see what they would want. And so simple, a lot of them would just talk about like wanting to help their family or wanting to travel, and they don't have these opportunities because like I met this lovely lady called Mary, and she's now pregnant, and hopefully me and G, we got really good friends with her. Hopefully we get to go over and see her and help her and her family out at some point. We both really want to go help in the schools in Lombok and just help them with their lives and help the kids. So we're definitely gonna make that happen, hopefully at some point. But I do want to give you that permission to start over and think like, okay, if I could reinvent myself right now, what would I be doing differently? Like, how would I be showing up for myself, first of all? And it's okay right now if it feels a million miles away, if you feel like, okay, I know that I have a lot of habits and, I'm doing a lot of things like scrolling on my phone all the time, like, feeling a bit desperate, trying to get clients and, you know, trying to message people because I'm scared rather than like actually wanting to help people. So I want you to think like, if I was so chilled, if I knew that everything that I wanted was coming in business and I didn't have to stress and I could just enjoy my days, what intentional work would I be doing? Like seriously, what would you be doing, in your personal life, and then what would you be doing to work towards your business? And for me, I knew that I needed to completely restructure the way that I was working because I was just trying to do everything and that just didn't work. Like, you know, it's not, I don't just have coaching, I have the retreats, I have the podcast, I have my coaching, there's also social media. I'm the mindset coach from 2 programs. So I was like, girl, you're doing a lot. And I was trying to do like just willy nilly. I know that's a funny saying, but it was all a bit willy nilly, right? We needed to come back to doing things with intention. So now I have set days. So Monday is more of like an admin client day. Tuesdays is my podcast day. So that's why we're here on a Tuesday recording. Wednesdays is a client day. And then Thursdays is my retreat day. And then, Friday, Saturday, Sunday off. So that's like my ideal structure. And around my work, like, I have my structure of what I do. And then around that, like mornings, I'm like, okay, what's going to make me feel like my best self and show up for myself and everyone else around me best? It is going on a nice walk. It's going to my Pilates. I'm going to miss this studio so much. Like, that's the one thing about moving around. Like, I've just got myself all set up and then I'm moving again. But hopefully on my van trip, I can use ClassPass and go to some gyms. I've also got my yoga mat, so I can do online. You just adjust. So it's like, okay, well, what will my morning routine look like then? I can plan it out. It will be, having a bit of a morning stretch, tidying up the van, having a nice cup of tea in the morning, doing some journaling, meditation, and then probably going out for a big walk before I start my day. Obviously, I'm on a time difference here to all my clients, so I do have more time in the mornings, and then in the evenings, I'm working a bit more like afternoon evenings, or it just depends. Like, I'm still experimenting with what works, and if you're someone that's moving around, or you have to prioritize it more of getting organized, and I think that's something that I've learned big lessons around this year. So yes, I will really look at, okay, well, how am I, going to set myself up for the best me, and what non-negotiables do I have? Like, my one non-negotiable is a 20-minute meditation every day, because that just calms my mind. Whatever's going on in my day, I feel like I can get through it because I feel like I'm entering the day in a calm state, and it just makes things feel easier in my day. So that's my non-negotiable for me. And then there's an app called Mindspo, and I use their calm your nerves meditation each morning because I was feeling really anxious. I was just having really bad anxiety, which is something that it was feeling really heightened. I'd never been someone that had suffered from anxiety, but I do think business, it can affect your mental health a lot more because I went from, 6 years in sales where I had this constant stream of income. And then I also had the opportunity, like, I have my base income, 2 to 3 grand a month. And then, you know, you have your commission every month. So a lot of the time I was earning like 5 grand a month because I was a hard worker. And, then going into a business life where it's not guaranteed, like you don't always I was very lucky that I built a base income and I worked very hard and, but it's not as guaranteed sometimes. And you're like, okay, right, we're going to this. I wouldn't ever change it. Like, this is my life's path and I couldn't be more happy with where I'm at. And yeah, I'm truly happy with myself, which is so special to feel like I've got my spark back after feeling like I'd lost it a little bit. So yeah, that's why this episode has been an important one to me, because I know I get a lot of girls and female entrepreneurs coming to me feeling burnt out, feeling lost, and feeling like the business has become their identity. So I want you to give yourself that permission to crack yourself open. Like, what would your dream mornings look like? What would you be doing? And if you are someone that's working a full-time job and running a business, which I was doing last year, I would still prioritize myself in the morning. I'd still get up, that half hour earlier and take myself on a walk, or just do something for myself before I start my day. I've really entered my meditation girl era again now, which has been so lovely. Like, I feel like I'm on a full nervous system cleanse reset, which is so good. And but even now, like, I've changed so much. Like, sitting back here in the place that I set up my business, I'm a completely different person to the person I was 2 years ago, starting the business. I've had to crack myself open, take so many risks, and do so many things. And then now I feel like I'm a lot more of a happy person. At that point in my life, I was like, so like, business, work, like, focus, don't do anything else, really really focus, get your head down. And then now I'm in my more like, say yes, like, you've created so hard to create this life, and now it's time to enjoy it. So I promise you, if you're in that building stage, you will get to that point as well. Like, I am such a big support. Like, if you ever need support, just join the CEO club, do it, you will not regret it. Or, book an empower hour with me, and we can just get clear on what this looks like for you. But also get clear on, growing up, I don't feel like I had many hobbies. I know that sounds a bit funny, but I feel like things were so hard growing up that I just I just don't feel like I could ever get into anything that much. Um, like, I think I got knitting lessons with someone, or I didn't feel like I had a sport either. I didn't feel like I was very sporty growing up. So yeah, as an adult, I feel like I'm learning things. Like, I'm learning to swim properly. When I'm in one place, I want to get swimming lessons. And I was learning to surf. Obviously, that's gone a little bit down the gutter. I need to do a bit more surf lessons. But like, hiking groups, like, I know when I go back to England, there's loads of like TikTok hiking groups, which I think is so cool. I'm sure you've probably seen one, or you can actually type in like hiking groups. I want to go hiking more. I want to do more run clubs again. Maybe do like a fitness challenge with some of the girls back home. Going on retreats. Like, retreats are such an amazing way to like get to know yourself and like expand, like get yourself in a new environment. Like, I know my next retreat, everyone's going to expand, not even first of all from everything I've got planned, but from being in an expansive environment where you're around people that are, on similar paths. Like, I'm very careful with the selection of the girls I bring on the retreats, because I want everyone to feel so safe and so like full of love and supported. And I have like I literally just like redesigned my application form. So you have to apply to come to my retreats now, and you have to fill out the application form, so I can get a real good feel of like who you are as a person, and make sure that, this retreat is completely aligned to you and that you're going to have the best experience. And also for the group, I'm so like clear, if you're coming to a 5 day to a week retreat, and there's one person on the retreat that's like really negative and doesn't want to do anything and thinks everything's shit, then it's going to affect the morale of the group. Whereas if everyone is open-minded and, there to have their own experience and meet other girls and, grow in themselves, then that's what you really want. So yeah, I've, really learned a lot about myself, and I've gone to retreats and immersed myself in these experiences so I can be the best retreat facilitator. So definitely, if you like want to come to a retreat, apply, like put your application in now, because I will be planning next year's retreat as well. And in the years to come, I'll probably be doing like 2 to 3 a year around the world and in different places, which feels so crazy to say, but that's the route I want to go down as well, of like really helping more female entrepreneurs and getting everyone together in that group space where you get 5 days to a week off everything, you cancel everything, and you fully have that time to yourself to just like integrate and like be in this lovely bubble of CEO energy where you can upgrade, where you can really transform into that space of, it's like a quantum leap. It's like you like expanding into the version of you that you've always wanted to be, but maybe in your current environment or with the people around you, you just haven't felt safe to step into that version of you. So that's what I'm creating in the retreats that I'm doing. But at the minute, I'm doing all the behind the scenes, like planning and like getting clear. I'm going to be flying out a guest expert to come on my next retreat in September. And at this moment in time, there's still 2 spaces, because 8 girls booked on from last year and clients. So I've got 2 amazing spaces. And if you apply with the link in my show notes, then as soon as your application comes through, I will review it and we can plan a call. And then if it's up your street and you're like, yeah, this is what I need right now, we go for it. We get you all signed on and the world's your oyster, babes. Also, there's the retreat itinerary on the website, so you can just see everything going on in the next one. But, if right now you feel like you are in that burnt out stage, it's so important to have a CEO switch off. Like, take a weekend where you have no plans and you're just, like, take yourself to a bloody little log cabin. Like, I know it costs money, but so does what is the cost of you not prioritizing yourself? That is what I always say to myself. Like, what is the cost of you not doing these things that are gonna get you where you want to be? So take that time for yourself. Have a CEO switch off. Take a whole week off if you can. Take a few days. Like, that's when you're going to get the best results, is when it feels hard to prioritize yourself and you do it anyway. That's when things fall into place in your business. So create your life, create friendships, rituals outside of your business that truly light you up, so your self-worth isn't just defined by the success of your business. There's a lovely quote here: a grounded CEO builds a business, not becomes one. So right now, where are you sitting on that scale? Do you feel like you've become your business, or do you feel like you've built a business? It's fine if you feel like you're here. The best thing you can do is get honest with yourself. Like, the more honest you get of yourself about like all of this stuff, I've had to do it time and time again. I constantly am having to check myself to see where I'm at, to see, okay, have I become my business, or am I building a business? Like, now I'm fully in my building business era again because I have fully prioritized myself. Like, when it's hard, like the days I don't want to meditate, I still do it and show up, because that's a core like value for me, is like regulating my nervous system, having that deep breathing so I go into my days in a calm state. And it's a responsibility having a business. It's not just you set up a business and then you travel around the world and it's fun and you do whatever you want. Like, it is responsibility as well. Like, when you have clients and when you're nurturing relationships, I'm not saying you're going to be perfect. Like, I had feedback from one of my lovely clients that I hadn't been on it with my Slack support, and that really got to me when I was traveling, because I was like, oh my gosh, I feel like the worst person in the world. And, like, at my core is wanting to provide quality service and, like, be the best. And I had to really check myself and have lots of realizations around, like, okay, yes, you've been living this amazing life, but, come on, Yaz, like, let's get back to it. Let's really, really come back to what's important to you. And, it's looking after myself, it's being intentional with my time, it's like building a beautiful life that is so rich in life, not rich in money, rich in life. And, the money comes with it, but it's not the be all and end all. So, I was as well, I was living in fear. I was living in fear around changing things in my business. I feel like I'd been doing the same thing for 2 years and I was ready for a time of change. And I've actually recently changed my business to align around my cycle. So all of my offerings were like weekly calls, weekly Slack support, you get like everything included. And then now I've changed it where my like most signature highest package, you get 3 calls a month, 3 weeks of Slack support, and then you have 1 week where you integrate everything we've learned. That 1 week you do all of the journaling, you watch the training that I do on the CEO Club, because part of my one-to-one mentorship, you have access to the CEO Club as well. So then you get a mindset training to watch, and you have the community call, and then 3 calls with me a month. So you still have so much value, but then I have 1 week of the month where I'm on my period, where I can slow down, I can really reflect on, every single month, because so much changes every month in ourselves. I feel like I'm always changing. So that 1 week a month, I can nurture myself. I can do deeper work around planning the retreats, planning my trainings, looking at all my call notes with my clients and just reflecting, rather than just like constantly being on. It just gives me a week to go inwards and like do slower work and not be client facing, so that I can, pour into myself and then show up as my best self on those other 3 weeks. So that felt so scary to change, because I was like, oh my gosh, what if clients cancel? What if clients don't feel like they're supported as much? But then I had to really let go of that and be like, well, if you're prioritizing yourself and you're prioritizing your cycle and nurturing yourself, And that's an amazing example for other women to be able to prioritize their cycles, because we're not on a 24-hour cycle like men. We have a monthly cycle. And I'm no expert on cycles. I'm going to be getting a menstrual cycle coach on the podcast. She's going to deep dive with us into our cycles. So that's going to be amazing. Also, we've got a human design expert coming on the podcast to share as well. So that's going to be so special. But I knew that the most important thing I can do is prioritize myself and my boundaries. And from doing that, it really sets the bar and helps other women as well prioritize themselves, which is always the most important thing. Is like, okay, how can I be an example, and how can I sort of be a guinea pig and experiment with the things that scare me in order to prioritize myself and like show up in the best way for me. So I want to remind you that you have the free will to change at any point. Like, you don't have to just stick doing the same thing because it's what you've always done. And yes, change is scary. Yes, it's going to bring up fears, but often those fears are going to be what sets you free and helps you in the next phase of life. So another thing I want you to notice is the language that you are using. So, like, are you using language right now? And this could be internal as well. It might not always be what you're saying out loud, but what you're saying to yourself, like, internally. And that's why like meditation and journaling is so good, because you can track your thoughts or have a thought diary and like say, okay, what am I saying to myself right now? And notice how you're speaking to yourself. So, for instance, instead of saying like I'm a failure, like things haven't gone my way, like I'm not good enough, you could say things like the launch just didn't land. This strategy just needs adjusting. I've learned so much. Like for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I needed this to happen. I needed to have a slower stage in my business in order to reset. And, we are not just this like bottomless pit of time and energy. Like, I had a big realization that I'm just one person, that, I need time to realign as well, and time for me. And that's just opened up a whole new door for me in business, because I would often look at people and I was comparing myself and thinking like, oh my gosh, their content's so amazing. They look like they've got so much time, and I'm just sat here like doing so much. And I just needed some time to just come back to like what feels important to me in this next chapter, and like, reminding myself, yes, you have free will. Like, you can create whatever you want in this next phase. Just because you've done things the same the last 2 years doesn't mean you can't change things up. Like, I think from working with mindset coaches and people myself, it's been a big help, because it's helped me have soundboards and helped me share how I'm feeling. And, almost sometimes we need someone to give us permission to be like, you can do that. Like, you do have the free will. Like, I promise you, it's not as scary as you think. And look at what's on the other side. So that's what I love helping with, is like, okay, well, how can we do that for you? How can I be that soundboard to elevate you and help you really, really have the confidence to put yourself first? And that is, my number one priority for you listening to this episode today. So the last point I had down, which we'll talk about, is create a mission. I can't even say it. Create a mission bigger than you. So when your business is here to serve a mission, not prove your worth, the pressure lifts. You lead from love, not lack. And I bang on about love. You are not your business. Your business is a vehicle, not your value. So I want you to get clear on your purpose here. Like, and that's something I love asking, is like, and I feel like I need to be asked this again, because I just would love to share my answer. And it's like, okay, what are you here to do? Like, for me, finding the mindset coaching course, and like, that lit a fire in me. Like, oh my gosh, imagine if I could help one person change their life. And now being in this position where I've helped girls quit their 9 to 5s, I've helped amazing female entrepreneurs fall in love with themselves, come away from burnout, build a life that they're absolutely obsessed with, and like design each area so they're feeling so excited, so confident. That means the absolute world to me. And that, I feel like, is so much bigger than like the success. It's like, well, what difference am I making in people's lives? So it's so important for you to find that, like, what fills you with passion, like what reignites that spark to do, like, how do you want to serve in this world? How do you want to serve yourself and other people? And I want to remind you that you have that free will to go out and do that. So detach yourself from the worth, detach yourself from the outcome, and think about, okay, well, what lights me up again? Like, how can I take some time out to just focus on these things. And I guarantee a lot of you listening have a lot of clients, or you have people that you think are the biggest priority before yourself. And I just want to remind you that the more that you do put yourself first and make yourself your number one priority, everything else is going to fall into place. And I've had to learn this the hard way time and time again. But if you need any support, I've got my full, I get so excited that I've got my full offerings now, because I feel like I've got something for everyone. So you can join the CEO Club now and you get added into the group chat straight away. You can book an Empower Hour with me for £150. You can apply for one-to-one coaching with me, or you can apply for a retreat. You just pick what you want. It's this mindset cotton candy field of you decide what feels best for you and we'll make it happen. I'm only just getting started. When you come into my world, your dream life becomes I get so excited about it. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do to make it happen? Let's map it out together, and you're no longer on your own. So whatever way you want to come into my world, if that feels good, you've got your options in the show notes, my loves. But yes, if you have enjoyed today's episode, I'd love if you could do the old 5 stars on Spotify if you haven't already, or subscribe to my YouTube at Yasmin Lily Hillston, where I release the weekly podcast episodes. And then I am figuring out my when's best to fit in my editing of my YouTube videos right now, because I've just got a camera. I did my first weekly vlog last week and I feel like I did so much in a week. So I'm going to have this week off of vlogging and just doing intentional work, and then edit that, and then build it up over time. I'm not trying to burn myself out with it all. So yeah, we're getting there. Very happy, and very happy if you listen to this episode and you've got to minute 50. Well done for just prioritizing yourself. So I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a fabulous day wherever you are in the world, and I am sending you all my love, and I will see you next week. Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode on the Your Girl Yaz podcast. We'll be back next Wednesday at 7 a.m. UK time, so I look forward to seeing you back here. I also have a free higher self meditation course for you to learn to meditate, to relax, to switch off, that's available for you to access now in the show notes. And also don't forget to follow the podcast wherever you're listening, rate, leave us a review. I appreciate it way more than you could ever know. Thank you so much again for listening. If you've got any feedback of the podcast, my Instagram at Yasmin Lily Hillston is also linked in the show notes, and I really appreciate it.